right, everybody, welcome back. The Sarah Fraser Show. I'm your host, Sarah Fraser, along with my husband, Schman. Schmano, you may have received the best compliment ever on one of my Instagram posts recently this week. It says, your husband sounds like a flaming libtard.
So by calling that the best comment,
I said to that, I don't know if it was a guy or a woman, whatever, a bot. I was like, this might be my husband's favorite.
Yeah,
comment.
you know, any engagement is good engagement. And I appreciate that person's exercising their First Amendment right. I would not categorize myself as that.
You wouldn't?
No.
What would you categorize yourself as?
Reasonable progressive.
Okay, well, the same thing. Anyway, I thought that was hysterical. You nailed him. I mean, not, you know.
Listen, we live in a politically charged climate, and not everyone's going to be for everyone. So sorry, not sorry if I offended you, but I have an opinion. You have an opinion. We can both share our opinions and move on.
All right. Well, there you go.
Give me their handle, though.
On social media, so you tell me. We have a lot to get to on this show. We have an update on our egg donor journey as we search for an egg donor and move forward there. We have some Olympic highlights that we both wanted to chat about.
The Olympic fever.
Yeah, we got the Olympic fever. And we have I know you're not on social, but my business has been built on social media. And my friend Lauren posted a social media dilemma that I thought you and I could weigh in on. That I thought people could relate to.
You know, peel back the curtain here for a moment.
Okay.
There are some things you share with me ahead of times, like, hey, we're going to talk about the Olympics. So I'll gather my thoughts. And then there are other things where like, we're going to talk about this. And then I say, well, can you give me some background? And you say, no. So what the listeners of the Sarah Fraser Show get is my immediate reaction. So it's exciting. I'm looking forward to it.
Well, we'll share that. I will say, though, before, this is kind of a surprise topic because I do always like to give my...
Here we go.
I like to give my guests a topic, but this one you're already familiar with. How bad do you feel like is House of Dragons? It's so bad, isn't it, on HBO? The prequel, if you will, to Game of Thrones, which, by the way, Game of Thrones, I think, is one of the greatest shows, season 1 and season 2. And then, of course, it completely jumps the shark. But, and the reason these shows jump the shark is in Hollywood, in my brief time here pitching shows, like you could pitch a show and then 5 years later it gets picked up, right? You could pitch a show, you do all this work, you have 7 seasons planned, and then it's canceled midway through the first. So the reality is most of these shows, there's really only one great season that the writers have all come together, maybe a couple.
Debatable. I would disagree when we're talking about marquee shows, but go on.
Like what marquee show was planned and like continued to be amazing? West Wing is probably like the only one.
Breaking Bad was phenomenal.
Okay.
I mean,
Sopranos.
I mean, like when you're talking about golden age of
and The Wire
television. Yeah, I mean, The Wire had a few missteps in season 5, but going back to your point, how bad is it?
It's so bad.
And it seems like everyone else was terribly frustrated by last night's episode because there's a relative formula. And when you look at Game of Thrones specifically, is that oftentimes the penultimate episode, that's one of my favorite words, by the way, penultimate. That's the second to last.
Okay.
It is oftentimes the most consequential episode. So you get the biggest plot movement, whether it's a massive battle or a death, and then the last episode is the resolution, and then it sets it up for the new season. Spoiler alert for those who have not watched House of Dragons yet. Pause, watch it, come back to this point in the podcast. They did not have that key movement, I think, in the penultimate episode. And then they built up for this massive battle and then gave you blue balls on the way out.
It was so bad. It's so bad. It's so terrible. It's so hard to follow. I mean, I can't. Who is watching that show and review? What executive is watching that show and review and going, actually, yes, I know which house is which. I know who owns which dragon. I know which alliance is. Like, you can't.
It's sound in theory,
lazy.
and I can't I can't take credit for this comment, but I'll take credit for sharing this comment that I've read, is that in this last night's episode, when they shared, or when Damon had his vision and he looked ahead and he saw Daenerys, he saw he saw the White Walkers and whatever the king is, the zombie king. And all the three-eyed raven, and he saw what was going on. He had the vision. All that did was remind us as viewers how disappointing the ending of Game of Thrones actually was. So yes, it was nice to show that there is a connection and a purpose. But then again, spoiler alert for those who haven't seen Game of Thrones, Bran becomes the three-eyed raven at the end. Give me a break.
Yeah, it was.
It's kind of like reminding you of more and more disappointment. So
But started out, I think, is one of the greatest TV shows.
Guess what? 2 years when it comes back on, we'll be watching it again.
I know. Well, we have a 2-year palate cleanse from House of Dragons, and then we'll forget our anger and seething, and then we'll continue to watch it because the dragons are cool and the whole. I mean,
House
the whole
of Dragons, more like House of Dragon. These nuts all over the viewers.
All right, we'll stick to more. Less like planned out humor and more driveway.
Listen, I just had who doesn't like a D's nuts joke?
Probably not, because not my audience. Well, mostly women.
Put up a poll. Put up a poll. I'm pretty sure everyone likes it.
Yes. How many people today like a D's nuts? All the women
ladies
say
have
yes.
D's nuts. Yeah, exactly.
Yes. All right. Let me ask you this, because I feel like this happens a lot now, and especially because people are taking breaks from social media. People are over social media in many regards. My friend Lauren Lagrazo, who has a fabulous podcast, Unleash Your Inner Creative, you should absolutely listen to it, posted this a while ago in her story. And she wrote, this girl that I did plays with when I first moved to Los Angeles, I had followed her on Instagram over a decade ago. Apparently, sometime in that decade, and she, by the way, we'd followed each other. Apparently, sometime in that decade, she unfollowed me and then today decided to refollow me.
Ooh.
Do you ever get refollowed after being unfollowed by people you personally know? First off, I find the unfollowing of people you know in real life to be bizarre. You can just mute people unless their existence is so offensive to you. Being or others being, which is most likely pretty rare. But I find the refollowing after unfollowing even more interesting. And I loved that because every once in a while that will happen to me is somebody who from my past, right? Usually like radio or TV or, it's usually someone I worked with briefly or something like that. We followed each other, and then all of a sudden, like one of my videos will kind of go viral or something, and then I'll see them refollow. And I'm always kind of like, at that point, I want to unfollow them.
Ooh.
I know.
Well, to your point, and again, I'm well versed in social media. I just choose not to use it. The muting of someone's content and feed does not carry the same weight as the unfollow. The unfollow is public. It sends a message. It happens all the time in professional sports when there are athletes who are,
does?
oh yeah, oh, it gets real petty. Oh, it's the best. Where athletes are in contract squabbles with their teams, or they get traded or whatever it is, and they unfollow the team that they previously played for, or they delete any sort of social media that is related to that team. And it's petty wars, and we're all here for it. That's why everyone, like when an athlete deletes some reference to social media, like Klay Thompson, when he was leaving, he's one of the he played for the Golden State Warriors, Klay Thompson, one of the Splash Brothers, won several NBA championships.
I don't know.
But they weren't going to sign him. So I believe he ended up like deleting certain things. But I think he got traded to Dallas. But it was just one of those things where when athletes do that, that's where the eyeball emojis come up in the comments, like, oh, what's happening here? I'm all here for it. But if I'm unfollowing people,
and then you're
refollowing, that's some humble pie. I think there should be an etiquette. I think you could reach out to that person and say, I unfollowed you 5 years ago, but I've refollowed you and I am eating this humble pie.
Really? I
Mhm.
have a rule that I want to implement, which is if you unfollow me, I want to be able to ban you that you can never refollow me
Ooh.
ever again. Like
See,
you've lost.
how about
You
like
either
a
are on the Frasiac train
mhm.
or like you're never getting
Wow.
back on. I
No
know.
bandwagons. I like it.
I'm because it's so weird in our marriage too, right? When I met you, you were super motivated by spite, and I was like all about therapy and kindness.
Mhm.
We've done complete role reversals. I am so motivated by spite now. There's so many
The
people on my
turntables.
hit list. Like,
Mhm. Mhm.
I don't want other people to win anymore. What is that, do you think? And now I feel like you are much more kind, understanding. You're competitive, but like we all can be friends. I'm actually kind of quite like that because
Mhm.
I just ultimately know I'll win. But if the game if the game turns like I'm not gonna,
No, I get it.
then I think I'm gonna be a
There should
spiteful
be
woman.
there should be either a way to like force them into certain challenges or
Yeah, I
to
agree.
acknowledge, be like, it should be
Like a
a,
public shaming or
yeah, public
something.
shaming. It's like, Schman has followed the Sarah Fraser Show
Again.
again, dun dun dun, and then some sort of graphic or GIF comes up. Yeah.
It's so testy on social
Mhm.
media, isn't it?
Well, it's social media is now to some degree what the bathroom stall wall was 30 years ago.
It is?
Yeah, people can post whatever they want, they can do whatever they want.
I
Um,
think in the bathroom stall, you used to post your phone number, what you would do, who you love.
well, you
Like,
can do other things. You can write like, "Hey, Frasier," or "Sarah Fraser Show is
I
the
think
worst podcast."
Grinder is now like the bathroom stall.
That could be.
You know what I mean? Like, come on, what bathroom stalls were you going into? I was going into one like dicks were drawn.
It could be
It
anything
was
for a
suck
good
these
time,
nuts. Yeah,
call. Yeah, I
and
mean,
then
but it
you
could
would
be
put
anything.
your enemy's
But
number.
no, yeah, I think this is no, there should be some consequences to this. I agree with you. And Lauren, if you're listening, you should call that person out.
I would hit
And
unfollow, I think. Like, I don't know. I'm getting to the point. I mean this. I only want to follow my real fans. I
mhm.
really do. I'm done with celebrities. And we'll talk about J-Lo and Ben Affleck.
Oh,
I've unfollowed so many celebrities in 2024.
well,
So
I hope for your
many.
sake you don't refollow them because you're going to get blocked.
Here we go.
Hmm.
I just have because now Instagram has gone the way of TikTok, where TikTok, if you like somebody's post, it'll just keep showing you that person, but
Okay,
you never really have to follow them.
makes
So now
sense.
I do that with fair weather celebrities. There's so few people. I truly want to follow my own real fans who have real life things going on. I'm not interested in people that like have 18 filters and look a certain way and the tits are all done and the hair. I'm nothing wrong with it. I'm just not, I
Okay.
can't relate
You know what? If you
anymore.
don't stand for something,
That's exactly it. You
mhm.
stand for nothing. All right, let's talk about our Olympic highlights. Do you have any Anthony, I think his name is Anthony Amirit. Oh God. How do I say it?
uh,
A is it
Emirati.
Emirati, who
Mhm.
is the pole vaulter that had the massive
The
bulge,
agony of defeat.
the massive wang. He's 21 years old. Where is he from?
France.
Oh, wow. You
I've
know
done
a
my
lot about him.
research. Listen, when you want to talk about athletes and big bulges, you come to the Sarah Fraser Show.
I love a huge dick. I mean, I really do. And can you imagine not getting a medal because of your penis? You can. I think you would say, this is the greatest day of my life. I've won the gold.
So this was one of two French athletes with massive bulges. There was also a diver who was walking around with a
Yes.
Speedo on, and he was
Yes.
packing some heat. And if you can't win the gold medal, at least be known around the world as having a massive package.
I
And
love it.
I look at this also as some level of karma, because if you are an Olympic athlete and you're competing at the highest level and you've got, you know, a massive hog, you should not be able to win gold either. Like you can't have all the spoils.
That is true.
Hmm.
Yeah. Oh, you only get so many gifts from God, right? In your
Hmm.
life. And if you are super well endowed, plus a gold medalist, well, what's your excuse for John Hamm? I mean, John Hamm's one of the greatest actors. I mean, he's a triple threat,
He is,
honestly,
but
and has a
it took a
massive
while. It
heart.
took a while for him to get there. He had to get his way there.
That's true. Actually, he did pay a huge price. I think he was 38. I think
Mhm. It
they
was
had
late.
I think they filmed the first season of what was that show?
Mad Men.
Mad Men, thank you.
Mhm.
But it didn't come out until he was like 38,
Yeah.
and then it all started
Yeah,
taking
then
off.
it all so he had to grind his way there, and
He's amazing.
but now he's a little not to say he's overweight, but he's enjoyed life.
He's enjoying his spoils, let's
Mhm.
say that, right? He's not the John Hamm of Mad Men early era,
Mhm.
but I mean, I wouldn't say no to John Hamm. I don't think you would either.
No, I
mean,
wouldn't.
what other Olympic highlights were there for you?
I always enjoy the obscure sports, the whether it's trap shooting or air pistol or the canoeing and the kayaking where they have to paddle upstream. That's ridiculous. I, just being able to watch these random sports, I think everyone, at least for me, I did not really get excited about the Olympics, but
Me
you
neither.
just get ramped up. You know,
Me
that
neither.
it falls in a perfect time every 4 years where NFL training camp hasn't started yet. Major League Baseball is in the summer doldrums. NBA and NHL aren't going on. Um, the soccer tournaments are all done for the summer, so it just falls in the perfect spot where it just captures everyone's attention, and it's fun watching people compete. We watched India versus I think the Netherlands in badminton yesterday. And that was exciting to watch these guys play badminton. They're the best in the world competing. And then of course you get pop culture moments, the athletes with major hogs, the I think was he Turkish, the air pistol shooter, the dad who came in like with no, it was like it was
I
a
don't think I
50,
saw
oh,
that.
you probably saw him. It was a 51-year-old man, because all the pistol shooters all have the contraptions all over their faces to
Okay.
help them shoot, and he came in basically in khaki pants, a t-shirt, and glasses, and I think he took silver medal, and he was just like came in, hand in his pocket, boom, boom, boom. It's like,
Oh, rhyme or
yeah,
reason
just it was
there.
just like this guy's awesome. Meanwhile, there's like a Korean lady who's got all the contraptions all over her face. She looks like well, no, she looks like a cyborg, and it's fascinating watching these athletes compete. And now there's always some events though that you're just like, I think breakdancing is starting this week.
Yeah.
It's like, come on, that's not.
Well, people have even complained about the 3-on-3 because I mean, you
Mhm,
already have you have the men's basketball team, the women's basketball team. Why are we getting this subcategory?
mhm.
Yeah, I mean, there's
It's a different, to
surfing
be
is
fair, it's a different sport in the sense that of the rules and shot clock and scoring. But yeah, it seems to get a
but the average person doesn't know that. You know what I mean? Like that's the thing. It's
well, you either have Olympic fever or you don't. If you
well,
have it, you know it.
I have it now, and I think it's for two people, Michael Phelps
Hmm.
and Simone Biles.
Okay.
That's the only they are like getting me so patriotic, so pumped up.
You
Like
know Michael Phelps isn't competing this year, right?
no,
Okay.
but his commentary is excellent.
Mhm.
And the way he cheers for Leon Marchand,
Yes.
who is the French guy who's beating his records, but really he trained here in the United
Yeah.
States. So let's be honest,
No, it's great.
we're the ones that have made him an Olympian. Let's just take credit for it. But the way that Michael rallies for him is
Mhm,
so interesting. And then I'm obsessed with, and I was reading this fact, Snoop Dogg.
mhm.
They're narrating Snoop and Martha Stewart at the horse race. Like Snoop Dogg raised in Compton is now narrating a dressage.
Mhm.
It is so all American. But I did read Snoop is making $500,000 a day plus food and
Good for him.
stipend
Talk
to
about
promote
the
the
American
Olympics.
dream. That's awesome.
He's the American dream. Yeah. There's so many great moments. So many great
Yeah.
moments.
Well, it's
Now I've got the fever.
It is. When you talk about Simone Biles and then also Michael Phelps rooting on essentially people to break his record. There was MyKayla Skinner who posted something on talk about blocking and unblocking. She made some sort of comment about the U.S. women's gymnastic team. She's a former Olympian, not being ready or not being capable. And of course, they win the all-around gold, and Simone blocked her or dropped her from.
No, she blocked
Oh,
Simone.
is that what it
Yeah.
was? Yeah, that's petty.
She basically said, this is where like the media, everyone's so dumb, is she basically was like, insinuating 4 years ago, which
Mhm.
they imploded. They were a mess, the
Mhm.
gymnastic teams. She was saying that in light of everything that's happened, the Larry Masser thing, which was horrendous, the sexual abuse, everything. Basically, her point was that the coaching has gotten soft. Like years ago, a decade ago, whatever, that was like when you were a gymnast, it was like
Sure.
hardcore, no emotions. This,
Mhm.
of course, things have evolved, right? Coaches, everybody knows like therapy, like Tom Brady, so many things have evolved. Her point was they weren't mentally tough anymore. And maybe 4 years ago they didn't have that. Now, in Simone's defense, let the gymnastics do the talking. Let it be a Michael Jordan moment, which he
The
did. But like people are so
when you
dumb. Like,
talk about coaching and gymnastics, those athletes are following a trail of players and athletes and kids who weren't good enough and just mentally and physically beaten down through that process. Gymnastics is one of the worst when it comes to the mistreatment of kids. So I think,
well, yeah, but that's changing. And Simone's talked about meditation,
yeah, well,
all
that's my
this stuff.
point with your girl MyKayla is that she might want to reconsider that stance.
Well, like people are going to make a big deal about it. It's
It
over. It's
did.
done with.
Yeah. Well,
Well,
that's the
everyone's
beautiful thing about the
moved
Olympics
on.
is all it takes is another athlete with meat, a big sausage in their pants, and all of a sudden
We're over it.
we're on to something else.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Anyhow, so the Olympics is unbelievable. Let's talk about, because I just have this weird feeling, and I am a bit psychic, even though you laugh at me because you don't believe in psychics or astrology. But I have this weird feeling like you and Ben Affleck will cross paths. There's something I could see you two being friends. I think you're around the same age. He's like,
He's older, but
is he 50? Not yet, right?
yeah,
49.
let's go
Look
to
it
the
up.
fact checkers.
You guys, there's a level of I don't know, broness, I think, but
Mhm.
also both libtards, both a lot of you guys. There's just something I feel like now that we're in Hollywood that I could see you too.
He's 51. So yeah,
You're
we're not too
you're
far off.
years,
Yeah.
okay. He's now going through a divorce
Mhm.
with J Lo, and he's shaved his head. He's got a faux hawk. Basically, if you and Ben Affleck were to get together, you would spend hours speaking of the town.
It's a good film.
You would talk every movie. You would be advising him. Like, I feel like you would get on great. Do you have any thoughts? Like, this is J Lo's fourth marriage, fourth divorce now. He just bought a $20 million pad here in LA. They're trying to unload their $68 million mansion, and it's not going particularly well. Nobody's interested. And any advice for these two? I mean, my advice for J Lo is like, I would just like the men thing isn't working. You know what I mean?
Well, you want to? No, I listen. Some people just love falling in love, and that's part of the lure. Uh, I'd like to think that after we'll say this is their second time. Who knows if there had been any other rekindlings before then? Time to move on. Famous. I'm just going to go out on a limb here. Maybe find someone. The challenge they would always have, just as any celebrity couple has, is that they're two of the biggest names in Hollywood when it comes to it. And that's hard to make things work. I can't say like there are celebrity couples that seem to make it work, but you have to be able to like any he said it
It's very hard. Two major careers.
correct.
And I have a theory. I think J-Lo was madly in love with Alex Rodriguez,
Mm,
who was seeing other women, cheating on her. And I think that was the love of her life.
that's the one who got away.
And he's the biggest dog that's ever. He is. He's not married now. He wasn't married to J-Lo. They were engaged, which is another level of almost vows.
Mhm.
And that's when he was apparently sexting and messaging other women. But he's a dog. He's been a dog since. I mean, he's hot in real life. He's like
Sure.
stunning, stunning, stunning. I can see why, but don't pretend that you're going to get engaged to him and just be a dog.
To go back to your comment about Ben,
Yeah, I feel
can
it.
relate.
I feel
I
it.
can relate to him. That meme of him outside, like sighing and smoking a cigarette. Been there. I've been there. The video where he's walking J Lo into the car and she sits down and he just kind of slams the door. I've been there. I like Dunkin' Donuts.
I know. I
We
think
like
there's.
sports. So I
But don't get any ideas. You're not leaving me because
I'm not planning on it.
yeah, but that's what happens is you start hanging out with all these guys that are single and divorced, and they start telling you how great it is, and it's really not. They're all depressed and alcoholics at a high-end bar somewhere. So don't get any ideas. When you should be slamming doors and having a cigarette with me.
Oh, no, I'm having a cigarette because of you. I can do that. Again, the other thing is that whole lifestyle's, I mean, we were in bed at 9:30 last night. We're not going out to
Well, hopefully he's
the Ivy
sober.
or any of these bars or clubs. So
I'm not sure he is or not, but anyway. Okay, well, that's sad. Like I said, I had a premonition, much like House of Dragons. And Aegon, I too see visions, and there's something about you and Ben Affleck. Now,
it's
hopefully,
Damon who had the vision.
Whoever.
Okay.
Damon, Aegon. Who are the other ones?
Aemon.
Okay, well,
Rhaenyra.
who can keep score?
I can, but go on.
All right, our baby journey. We have an update.
Yeah,
we have let go of Dog Girl. We've said goodbye.
Sent her up to the farm upstate.
We're still waiting to meet with a genetic counselor in regards to if our favorite choice, if she's viable, because
just for those who might have missed the episode that we were on, as we're looking through egg donors, there was a candidate that we liked. The one of the few red flags that we saw in her profile was that she acted like a dog until age 5.
And she was mean as a child.
Well, dog girl, but.
And then she used the word penguin.
Sanguine.
Sanguine.
Tomato.
One that knows too much English. If you've got a real mastery of the English language, that's a red flag for me.
That's where we draw the line. We need you to sound like you fell off the rutabaga truck.
Thank you. I can relate. So we got rid of Dog Girl. People are very fascinated by the egg donor.
Yeah, it is. It's a fascinating thing.
Because you really do go to a website and for a moment you think, this is strange. I put in my ethnic preferences, height, weight, eyes. You read their profile. I mean, it is. And most people say, well, why are these women doing it? That's a question I've been getting. And I think it's such a great mix. And they seem honest.
Sure.
Some need the money. I appreciate that. Just tell me you need the money. And there's nothing wrong with like exchanging something for money. I don't see why that's a problem. As long as you're like, don't bullshit. I can't stand the bullshit.
No, I think for a lot of people, it's a service.
It is, and it's a great service.
Yeah. And what I've seen through a lot of the profiles are a lot of nurses who recognize the challenges that couples have producing children, and that this is an opportunity for them to do it.
Yeah.
Very, very unprofessional.
Sorry. Okay, wait, here's my only hiccup, because our first choice we adore, right? She's our number one choice. Then our second choice is a woman now who is 6 feet tall. We could have a boy, we could have a little girl. Do you have any hesitations about having an egg donor? Because you're 5'10", 5'11"?
Well, let's say 5'10" with the afro, but yeah.
Okay,
6 foot with the afro, but no,
setting ourselves up. You're 5'11". She's 6 foot. Are we setting our daughter up, potentially our daughter, to be like 6'2"? And like, what woman wants to be
an Olympic volleyball player, or we'll get her in the women's 3v3 basketball event.
That's an awfully big gamble. I don't know. I'm curious. I want women that are tall to listen to this podcast and then say, do you like being tall, or do you wish? What? I don't know. I mean, I'm 5'2", maybe 5'3". So like, I don't know. I enjoy being small. Like when people meet me, they're like, oh my God, you're like,
I can put you in my pocket.
Miniature size. Yeah. And I'm like, okay. And people are always like, I thought you were going to be really tall. I'm like, no, short and wide. And they're like, oh my God, you're so cute. Like, I like being referred to as cute.
Okay. Not someone who's like looking up. Yeah.
Like I like that. So like, I don't know what it must be like to be a 5.
All right, put up another poll. What's it like? Any women 5'10" and taller? What's it feel like?
Well, what are we going to do? She's like our best option. We just looked at another option. I mean, of course, you could go with a whole nother egg bank company. I don't know. Do you? But I like everything else about her.
Let's whatever our child is going to be, tall or short. Let's bring him into this world.
All right. Well, I know, but I don't want her to resent us. And if it's a him, he'll be happy. Most men love being tall. I know most guys that are short are always
the only issue our potential daughter has is that she's tall. Then you know, if assuming like whatever
I
we
know,
don't
but
cause for her as parents, then we're in good shape.
all right. Well, we'll see. No, I know women though, they go through high school and they're like 5'11", they hate it. Hard to find a guy. The women are
Good.
getting okay, well, that's
Focus on your schools,
all
your
right.
sports.
All right, Shmano. Love you, doll. We'll be seeing you more. You will actually, you know what? We'll talk about your new job soon.
New
on the
jobs,
podcast.
JOBS.
Yeah, JOBS. All right, more to come with Shmano and when he meets Ben Affleck and your jobs revealed next time. Okay, bye everybody.